The sky above New York blazed with unusual light as the massive ship descended through the clouds. People stopped in the streets, mouths open, phones recording the moment that would change human history forever. First contact had arrived without warning on a Tuesday morning. Within hours, the United Nations called an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered while military forces worldwide went on high alert. The unknown vessel hovered above Manhattan, causing widespread panic despite government attempts to maintain calm. Captain Ethan Morris stood at attention in the hastily prepared meeting room at UN headquarters. As one of the Navy's top officers with experience in diplomatic missions, he had been selected to join the first contact team. Beside him, Lisa Summers adjusted her suit jacket nervously. As the State Department's lead negotiator, she had prepared for many difficult situations, but nothing like this. "They're coming down now," said General Williams, watching the live feed from outside. "Remember the protocol. No sudden movements, maintain eye contact, but don't stare, and let Ms. Summers do the talking." The doors opened. The humans in the ICO room collectively held their breath as 5 figures entered. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall with slender bodies covered in pale blue scales. Their eyes, 3 on each face, blinked independently as they surveyed the room. The one in front wore an elaborate collar that glowed faintly. "I am High Commander Krell of the Zendari Confederation," the lead alien said, its voice surprisingly clear through what must have been some kind of translator. "We represent the dominant alliance of 23 species across this sector of the galaxy." Lisa stepped forward with practiced poise. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we welcome you. I am Lisa Summers, diplomatic envoy of the United Nations." The meeting proceeded with careful exchanges. The Zendari explained they had been observing Earth for decades, watching human development with interest. They spoke of peaceful intentions and cultural exchange. But Captain Morris noticed something in their manner, a slight condescension in tone, a dismissiveness in their gestures. Something felt off. 3 days of preliminary talks followed. World leaders arrived in New York for direct meetings. The Zendari shared limited information about their technology and culture. They expressed surprise at human progress, despite evolving on such a harsh planet. "You call Earth harsh?" asked Dr. Ben Powell, the lead scientist on the contact team. "Hi." Commander Krell made a sound like water running over stones, apparently laughter. "By galactic standards, your world is what we classify as a death world. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, dangerous levels of oxygen, and remarkable biological diversity, including numerous venomous and predatory species. Most civilized beings would perish here within hours without protective equipment." Captain Morris leaned toward Lisa during a break. "Did you notice how they keep calling us remarkably advanced for primitive beings? I don't like their tone." Lisa nodded slightly. "Diplomatic language often hides true intentions. Let's see what they really want." She didn't have to wait long. On the 5th day, the Zendari revealed their purpose. High Commander Krell presented a document he called a Standard Development Agreement. "As is customary when we encounter emerging species," Krell explained, "we offer guidance and protection within the Confederation. In exchange, we require exclusive mining rights to certain minerals abundant on your planet, but rare in the galaxy. Additionally, human space exploration would be limited to your immediate solar system for the next 100 years. For your own safety, of course." The room fell silent. President Laura Chen, who had arrived the previous day, spoke first. "And if we decline this agreement?" Krell's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "That would be most unfortunate. Unaligned worlds often face difficulties. Piracy, resource competition, even pacification. The galaxy can be dangerous for isolated planets." The threat hung in the air, barely disguised. "We'll need time to consider your proposal, President," Chen said carefully. "Of course," Krell replied. "You have 6 of your Earth days to decide." After the Zendari left for their ship, which remained hovering above the city, emergency meetings continued through the night. Military leaders from major powers gathered to assess options. They're not explorers. They're bullies, Captain Morris said bluntly during one session. They've done this before. Find a less advanced world, threaten them thinly, and take what they want. General Williams nodded grimly. Our best weapons would be useless against their technology. We need more time. The next morning, Lisa Summers led another meeting with the Zendari, attempting to negotiate better terms. But the aliens had dropped all pretense of respect. This is most unusual, Krell said, his tone openly annoyed. Most species recognize the benefits of our protection immediately. Perhaps you fail to understand your position. He gestured, and a holographic display appeared, showing the Zendari ship alongside Earth's most advanced military vessels, looking like toy boats beside a cruise ship. We have studied your defense capabilities thoroughly, Krell continued. Your most powerful weapons could not penetrate even our atmospheric shuttles. Be reasonable, humans. President Chen remained calm. We simply ask for more favorable terms, and time to prepare our people for such changes. Impossible, Krell snapped. The agreement stands as presented. 6 minerals, exclusive rights, limited space travel. This is already generous considering your development stage. The negotiations deteriorated further over the next 2 days. Other Zendari officials openly mocked human technology and customs during the meetings. One laughed at the mention of human rights protections in the proposed agreement. On what was supposed to be the final day, Krell arrived looking impatient. Your time for deliberation has ended. What is your answer? President Chen stood tall, despite being dwarfed by the alien commander. We respectfully decline your current proposal and request continued negotiation for mutually beneficial terms. Krell's middle eye narrowed. I see you require a demonstration of the consequences of defiance. He touched a device on his wrist. Seconds later, reports flooded in. Military satellites worldwide had suddenly gone offline. Defense systems across multiple countries reported critical failures. A small sample of our capabilities, Krell said coldly. We will depart now and return in 6 months with our enforcement fleet. Reconsider your position before then. The Zendari delegation turned and left without ceremony. As they departed, Captain Morris slipped away from the security team. He had anticipated this outcome and prepared. Using technology developed for covert operations, he managed to attach a miniature tracking device to the shuttle that transported the Zendari back to their ship. Hours later, as the alien vessel broke orbit and disappeared into the depths of space, Captain Morris confirmed the tracker was functioning. The signal was weak, but steady. They think they've frightened us into submission, he told Lisa and President Chen in a secure room later that, day. They don't understand humans very well. 6 months, President Chen said thoughtfully. Can we be ready? Morris looked at the first data coming from his tracker. They've underestimated us. That's the first mistake these galactic bullies have made. It won't be their last. Around the world, emergency broadcasts explained the situation to citizens. Rather than panic, a wave of unity swept across nations. Old enemies set aside differences in the face of this new threat. Humanity had 6 months to prepare for the return of the Zendari, and they would not waste a single day. The world changed quickly after the Zendari left. Old enemies became allies overnight. China, Russia, and the United States shared military secrets. The European Union, India, and Japan pooled their technological resources. For the first time in human history, the entire planet worked together with a single purpose: survival. 30 days after first contact, Admiral Samantha Wright stood in the war room beneath the Rocky Mountains. Maps and screens covered the walls, showing defense preparations worldwide. She had been chosen to lead Earth's unified defense force because of her unconventional thinking and brilliant tactical mind. We have 5 months left, she told the assembled military leaders. The Zendari think we'll either surrender or be easy to conquer. We're going to prove them very wrong. Dr. Alan Peterson hurried into the room carrying what looked like a piece of broken satellite. His lab coat was wrinkled, and his eyes showed he hadn't slept much. I figured it out, he said, placing the device on the central table. The way they disabled our satellites, it's not as advanced as we thought. The scientists and engineers gathered around as Dr. Peterson explained his findings. The Zendari weapons used a specific frequency that overloaded Earth's electronic systems. But their technology had weaknesses too. It produced unusual energy patterns that could be detected and potentially blocked. "Can we use this?" Admiral Wright asked directly. Dr. Peterson nodded excitedly. "Better than that. We can turn it against them." In another part of the facility, Major Christopher Daniels trained special forces teams from 20 different countries. The soldiers ran through combat drills wearing weighted suits to simulate the higher gravity that Zendari troops would experience on Earth. "They evolved on a lower gravity world," Major Daniels explained to his troops. "That gives us an advantage. They'll be slower here, tire more easily, and they're not used to our atmosphere either." He pointed to scientific data on the wall. "Their bodies haven't adapted to Earth's oxygen levels or temperature changes. They've never fought in rain, snow, or desert heat, but we have. For thousands of years, humans have fought in every environment this planet offers." Across the room, engineer Olivia Garcia worked with a team testing new shield technology. Using principles learned from studying the damaged satellites, they had developed prototypes that might withstand Zendari weapons. "It's working," she called out as a test beam hit the shield and dissipated. The team cheered, their first real victory. Meanwhile, in space, a small stealth ship approached the edge of the solar system. Captain Ethan Morris had been promoted to lead this crucial mission. Using the tracker he had planted, they followed the Zendari at a safe distance. "Keep us hidden," he told his pilot, Lieutenant Ryan Kelly. "We need to see what we're really up against." Nicole Tanner, the communications specialist, monitored alien transmissions. After weeks of work, she had begun to crack their language patterns. "Sir," she said quietly one day, "I've intercepted something important. The Zendari, they've done this before, many times." She played a translated recording. The Zendari commanders discussed their standard procedure for resource acquisition from primitive worlds. They sounded bored, as if conquering planets was routine paperwork. "They don't expect a fight," Captain Morris realized. "They think intimidation will be enough, just like with the other worlds they've bullied." Further transmissions revealed even more valuable information. The Zendari rarely engaged in actual combat. Most species surrendered immediately, intimidated by their technology. When they did fight, they relied heavily on standard tactics that rarely changed. Most importantly, they considered humans physically inferior. In one recording, a Zendari officer laughed about Earth's fragile Deathworlders, who would break easily if they resisted. Captain Morris sent all this information back to Earth through secure channels. Admiral Wright received it while meeting with world leaders. "This changes everything," she said. "They're underestimating us in every way possible." President Chen looked thoughtful. "Can we use their arrogance against them?" "Absolutely, Admiral," Wright replied. "They think we're weak because our planet is harsh by their standards, but that harshness has made us strong. Humans can endure conditions that would kill a Zendari in minutes." Around the world, preparations accelerated. Factories worked around the clock producing new weapons designed by Dr. Peterson that could affect Zendari systems. Olivia Garcia's shield technology was installed on key military assets. Major Daniels trained more troops in specialized tactics designed to exploit alien weaknesses. 4 months after first contact, humanity had transformed its defenses more than the Zendari could imagine. Deep space monitoring stations detected increased activity at the edge of the solar system. The aliens were returning, right on schedule. Admiral Wright addressed the Unified Earth Defense Force from her command center. "They think we're primitive, because we haven't spread among the stars yet. They think we're weak because we evolved on what they call a death world. They don't understand that surviving on this planet has made us resilient in ways they can't comprehend." She showed images from Captain Morris's reconnaissance mission. The approaching Zendari fleet was 3 times larger than their initial vessel. Thousands of ships moving in perfect, predictable formations. "They fight like machines," she explained. "The same tactics, the same patterns over and over. But humans adapt. We improvise. We overcome." These bullies have never faced a species that fights back effectively. In orbit around Earth, new defensive satellites took position, hidden from Zendari detection systems. On the ground, military units moved to strategic locations worldwide. Underground shelters prepared to protect civilians. Captain Morris and his crew raced their stealth ship back to Earth, carrying final pieces of intelligence about the approaching fleet. They landed just 2 days before the Zendari arrived. Their commander is named Grand Admiral Vex, he reported to Admiral Wright. He's never lost a conquest, never even faced serious resistance. His record shows he follows the same approach every time. Admiral Wright smiled slightly. Then he's never met humans before. On the final day before the Zendari arrival, a strange calm settled over Earth. 6 months of frantic preparation gave way to quiet readiness. Families huddled together watching news reports. Soldiers checked their equipment one last time. In the command center, Admiral Wright received reports from around the world. Every nation was ready. Every defense system was in place. Dr. Peterson, Olivia Garcia, and Major Daniels stood by with their teams, prepared to adapt their strategies as needed. They think we'll surrender or fall easily, Admiral Wright told them. They've bullied their way across the galaxy, but they've never encountered Deathworlders like us before. The tracking system beeped loudly. The Zendari fleet had entered Earth's solar system. Let them come, Admiral Wright said calmly. It's time these galactic bullies learned an important lesson about humans. Above Earth, the first Zendari ships appeared like new stars in the night sky. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The enormous Zendari ships filled Earth's skies like dark clouds. There were hundreds of them, each bigger than the largest human aircraft carrier. They positioned themselves over major cities around the world. People watched from below with fear, but also determination. This time, Earth was not unprepared. Grand Admiral Vex stood on the bridge of his command ship above New York City. His 3 eyes blinked in sequence as he studied the planet below. These humans are even more primitive than our report suggested, he said to his officers. I see no orbital defenses, no energy shields. They haven't even tried to contact us. His second-in-command nodded. The standard intimidation procedure should work quickly, Admiral. Shall we begin? Yes, Vex said with a gesture that showed his boredom. Target their military bases first. Nothing too destructive. We want their resources intact. The Zendari ships moved into attack formation. Energy weapons powered up, glowing with blue light. The first shots fired toward military installations in remote areas. The aliens wanted to show their power without causing too much damage yet. But something unexpected happened. The energy beams hit invisible barriers and scattered harmlessly. Earth's hidden shield technology, developed by Olivia Garcia, worked perfectly. In the Mountain Command Center, Admiral Wright watched the failed attack with satisfaction. They took the bait, she said. All units, execute Phase 1. Around the world, carefully hidden defense systems activated. Dr. Peterson's electromagnetic pulse weapons locked onto the Zendari ships. These weapons use the same frequency the aliens had used to disable Earth's satellites months ago. Fire, ordered Admiral Wright. Pulses of invisible energy shot upward from locations across the planet. The Zendari ships had no warning. Their systems flickered as the pulses hit them. 20 ships lost power completely and drifted in the sky. Others experienced weapon malfunctions and communication failures. On his command ship, Grand Admiral Vex couldn't believe what was happening. No species had ever countered their technology like this before. How is this possible? He demanded. They were primitive just months ago. His officers scrambled to respond, but their systems continued to fail under the human attack. Vex slammed, his fist on the control panel. Send ground troops to secure their pulse weapon locations, all available soldiers now. The Zendari launched transport ships toward Earth. Thousands of alien soldiers prepared to land and crush the human resistance. They expected an easy fight against weak Deathworlders. Major Daniels watched from his forward base as the transports descended. Remember your training, he told his international strike teams through the radio. They're not used to our gravity or atmosphere. Use that advantage. The alien troops landed in fields and forests near major military bases. They wore light armor and carried energy weapons. As they stepped onto Earth for the first time, many stumbled under the stronger gravity. Their breathing seemed labored in the oxygen-rich air. Near a mountain base in Colorado, Captain Jack Harrison led a small team of 50 soldiers against a Zendari force of over 500. The aliens advanced across open ground, expecting the humans to surrender at the sight of their superior numbers. Instead, Captain Harrison's team executed perfect guerrilla tactics. They used the rugged terrain for cover. They attacked quickly, then disappeared into the trees and rocks. The Zendari soldiers, struggling to move efficiently in Earth's gravity, couldn't keep up. They can't handle the altitude, Captain Harrison realized as he watched more aliens gasping for breath. The thin mountain air is making it even harder for them. His team set traps using the environment. They triggered small avalanches and led the aliens into narrow passages where their numbers became a disadvantage. The Zendari, used to fighting on flat, controlled battlefields, grew frustrated and disorganized. Similar scenes played out worldwide. In Siberia, Russian troops used the freezing temperatures against the cold, sensitive aliens. In the Sahara, Egyptian and Moroccan forces drew the Zendari into the desert heat, where the aliens quickly became dehydrated and disoriented. The human soldiers had trained for these conditions their entire lives. Their bodies, evolved on this harsh death world, could handle extremes that the Zendari found unbearable. In his mountain command center, Admiral Wright received reports of victories from around the globe. The Zendari ground forces were retreating in most locations, confused by their failure against supposedly primitive opponents. "It's working," she told her staff. "But Vex will try something else now. He can't accept defeat." She was right. On his command ship, Grand Admiral Vex raged at his officers. "This is impossible. They're just Deathworlders. Increase orbital bombardment on all major cities. We'll force their surrender through fear." The Zendari ships that still had functioning weapons aimed at population centers. But Earth was ready for this too. Olivia Garcia's shield technology had been installed over every major city. The alien energy weapons splashed harmlessly against the invisible barriers. At the same time, more of Dr. Peterson's pulse weapons fired from hidden locations. Another 30 Zendari ships lost power. Some began to fall from the sky before emergency. Systems stabilized them. Grand Admiral Vex couldn't understand what was happening. His perfect record of conquests was in danger. He had never faced a species that could counter Zendari technology so effectively. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. Their planet was divided just months ago. They had no advanced defense systems. His second-in-command spoke carefully. "Sir, I think we underestimated them. Their harsh world has made them more resourceful than we expected. And they adapt quickly." Vex wouldn't accept this explanation. "No, they must have help from another spacefaring race. No Deathworlders could advance this quickly on their own." He made a desperate decision. "Prepare our elite forces. We will capture their leaders and force them to reveal who is helping them." The Zendari deployed their most advanced troops, soldiers genetically enhanced for combat in various environments. These warriors landed near the human command centers, determined to break through Earth's defenses. In Colorado, a team of these elite aliens approached the mountain base. Major Daniels led a special forces unit to intercept them. The battle was fierce. The enhanced Zendari were stronger than regular troops and better able to handle Earth conditions. For the first time, the humans struggled. Several soldiers fell to alien weapons. Major Daniels himself was wounded in the shoulder, but the humans refused to retreat. "Remember who we are," he told his troops as they regrouped behind cover. "We evolved on this death world. Our ancestors survived ice ages and predators and plagues. We don't quit." The human forces rallied. They used the rocky terrain and approaching storm to their advantage. Thunder crashed above as rain began to fall. The elite Zendari, despite their enhancements, had never fought in such conditions. The sudden weather change confused their sensors and soaked their equipment. The humans pressed their advantage, moving through the storm like ghosts. Within an hour, the alien force was defeated. Across the world, similar battles ended with human victories. The primitive Deathworlders had proven themselves far more dangerous than the Zendari ever imagined. In orbit, Grand Admiral Vex received the news of his elite force's defeat. For the first time in his career, he felt fear. The humans weren't just resisting, they were winning. "Regroup all ships," he ordered. "We need a new strategy." The first day of battle ended with the Zendari in retreat and humanity standing strong. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. The real war had only just started. 3 days after the initial attack, the Zendari fleet remained in Earth's orbit but kept their distance. Their ships had formed a defensive ring, trying to repair the damage from Dr. Peterson's pulse weapons. Grand Admiral Vex had not ordered another direct assault yet. He was planning something new. Admiral Wright knew they couldn't wait for the next attack. "It's time for Phase 2, she told her command staff. "We need to take the fight to them." The plan had been in development for months. While Earth's main forces defended the planet, a small team would infiltrate the Zendari flagship. Captain Ryan Kelly, recently promoted after the reconnaissance mission, would lead the operation. "Your team will use our new stealth shuttle," Admiral Wright explained. "The Zendari won't detect you if you approach during their repair operations." 4 people sat around the briefing table. Captain Kelly studied the holographic map of the Zendari flagship. Next to him, Engineer Olivia Garcia checked her specialized equipment. She had adapted her shield technology into portable devices. Marine Sergeant Frank Martinez cleaned his weapons. He was an expert in close-quarters combat and demolitions. Dr. Julia Bennett, a brilliant xenobiologist who had studied the Zendari biology from limited samples, completed the team. Once aboard, your primary mission is to disable their main weapons and propulsion systems, Admiral Wright continued. Your secondary mission is intelligence gathering. We need to know more about the Zendari and their confederation. Captain Kelly nodded. When do we leave? Tonight, Admiral Wright replied. We'll create a diversion to cover your approach. That evening, as darkness fell over North America, Earth launched what appeared to be a major counterattack. Fighter jets and newly developed space interceptors engaged the Zendari ships on the far side of the planet from New York. The aliens responded by moving many of their vessels to meet this threat. Meanwhile, the stealth shuttle carrying Captain Kelly's team lifted off from a hidden base in the Adirondack Mountains. The small craft was coated with materials that absorbed radar and other detection methods. It slipped through Earth's atmosphere unnoticed and approached the Zendari flagship, which hovered above New York City. Their shields are focused on the battle, Olivia Garcia reported, monitoring her instruments. We have an opening near their lower maintenance bay. Captain Kelly guided the shuttle toward the spot. The massive alien ship loomed above them at least 20 times larger than their tiny craft. They slipped through the gap in the shields and landed in a service area. Remember, we have 12 hours before the shuttle's stealth system fails, Kelly reminded his team as they put on their gear. Each wore a lightweight suit designed for both protection and stealth. Olivia Garcia's portable shield generators were built into their belts. They exited the shuttle into the alien ship. The interior was dimly lit with blue-green light. The walls seemed to pulse slightly, made of some material between metal and living tissue. This way to their central systems, Sergeant Martinez said, following the map they had developed from scans. The team moved carefully through the corridors. They encountered few Zendari at first. Most of the crew was focused on the battle happening on the other side of the planet. When they did see aliens, they hid in alcoves or side passages. After an hour of slow progress, they reached a main data center. Dr. Bennett connected a translation device to the alien computer system. I need 10 minutes, she whispered to Captain Kelly, who nodded and positioned the others to stand guard. Dr. Bennett's eyes widened as information flowed through her device. Captain, you need to see this, she said urgently. She showed him records detailing the Zendari's history of conquest. For centuries, they had followed the same pattern. Find isolated worlds, intimidate them with superior technology, then strip their resources before moving on. When a planet was depleted, they simply abandoned it and its people. They've done this to over 40 worlds, Dr. Bennett said sadly. Most never recover, Captain Kelly's face hardened. Can you access their communication system? Dr. Bennett nodded. I think so. What are you planning? A little truth-telling, he replied. But first, let's complete our primary mission. They continued deeper into the ship. Sergeant Martinez led them to what appeared to be an engineering section. Olivia Garcia examined the alien technology with fascination. These are their main power couplings, she said, pointing to glowing blue tubes. If we place charges here and here, it will disable their weapons but won't cause a catastrophic failure. Sergeant Martinez set the explosives with careful precision. Ready when you are, Captain. They were about to move on when a door opened and 5 Zendari engineers entered. The aliens saw the humans immediately and reached for their weapons. Sergeant Martinez reacted first, using his specialized training to take down 2 aliens before they could fire. Captain Kelly disabled another with his sidearm, but one of the Zendari managed to hit an alarm panel on the wall. Loud, wailing sounds filled the corridor. Our timeline just got shorter, Captain Kelly said grimly. Olivia, how long do you need? For the propulsion system? 5 minutes, she replied as they ran toward the engine section. Dr. Bennett, what about accessing their main communication array? The xenobiologist checked her device. I can do it remotely now that I'm in their system. What message do you want to send? Captain Kelly explained quickly as they worked. Olivia, Garcia and Sergeant Martinez placed more charges on the propulsion systems while Dr. Bennett prepared a broadcast. Alarms continued to sound throughout the ship. They could hear the heavy footsteps of Zendari security forces searching for them. Done, Olivia said, stepping back from her work. Broadcast ready, Dr. Bennett confirmed. Send it now, then detonate the charges, Captain Kelly ordered. We need to get back to the shuttle. Dr. Bennett activated her device. Across the Zendari Confederation, a signal broke through on all frequencies. The information about the Zendari's exploitation of planets began broadcasting to every world they had conquered or contacted. At the same time, the charges detonated, shutting down the flagship's main weapons and propulsion systems. The team ran through corridors now filling with confused and angry Zendari soldiers. They had to fight their way through several groups. Sergeant Martinez was wounded in the leg, and Captain Kelly suffered a burn on his arm. Olivia Garcia's portable shield saved them multiple times, deflecting energy blasts that would have killed them otherwise. After what seemed like hours of running and fighting, they reached the maintenance bay where their shuttle waited. They boarded quickly and Captain Kelly started the engines. Stealth system is compromised, Olivia warned. They'll see us when we leave. We'll have to be fast then, Kelly replied, piloting the shuttle out of the bay and away from the flagship at maximum speed. As expected, the Zendari immediately detected them. Several fighter craft launched in pursuit. But the diversionary battle had served another purpose. As the shuttle raced toward Earth, a squadron of human fighters appeared, providing cover for their escape. The shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere with 2 Zendari ships still in pursuit. Captain Kelly pushed the craft to its limits using the clouds for cover. Earth's air defenses targeted the alien vessels, shooting one down. The other broke off the chase and returned to orbit. The shuttle landed at the mountain base, where Admiral Wright waited to greet them. Despite their injuries, the team felt triumphant. Mission accomplished, Captain Kelly reported. The flagship is crippled, and we sent the truth to every world in their confederation. Back in space, Grand Admiral Vex faced a nightmare scenario. Not only was his flagship disabled, but the humans had broadcast all the Zendari's secrets. Reports were coming in of uprisings on multiple subjugated worlds. For the first time in their history, the Zendari faced rebellion across their empire. These Deathworlders, Vex hissed to his officers. They will pay for this humiliation. He ordered all remaining ships to prepare for a final massive assault on Earth. The Zendari would throw everything they had at the planet. It was time to end this unexpected resistance once and for all. Grand Admiral Vex stood on the bridge of his crippled flagship. His 3 eyes narrowed as he watched the remaining Zendari fleet gather. Out of 300 ships that had arrived at Earth, only 200 remained operational. The others floated uselessly in orbit, disabled by human weapons or undergoing repairs. "This ends today," he told his officers. "Gather every functioning ship. We will hit their planet with everything we have. No more strategic strikes, full planetary bombardment." The officers looked at each other nervously. This violated Confederation rules about preserving valuable resources on conquered worlds. But none dared question Grand Admiral Vex, who had never faced defeat before and was clearly unhinged by the prospect now. On Earth, Admiral Wright received the warning from orbital sensors. The Zendari fleet was forming attack positions, all their remaining ships moving together. "They're desperate," she told her command staff. "Vex can't accept failure, so he's gambling everything on one massive strike." Captain Kelly, his arm bandaged, from the mission to the flagship, studied the tactical display. "Our shields won't hold against that many ships firing at once." Admiral Wright smiled slightly. "That's why we have one more surprise for them." She turned to Dr. Peterson. "Is the network ready?" The scientist nodded confidently. "All satellites are in position. We've been waiting for them to group their fleet closely enough." For months, alongside the visible preparations, Earth had secretly launched hundreds of small satellites into specific orbits. Each contained a modified version of Dr. Peterson's pulse weapon. Individually, they were too weak to affect a Zendari ship. Together, they formed a web that could target specific vulnerabilities in the alien vessels. "Begin the targeting sequence," Admiral Wright ordered. Around the world, control centers activated the satellite network. Power built up as the system synchronized. The Zendari ships, focused on their attack preparations, didn't notice the energy building around them. Grand Admiral Vex gave the order to advance. The Zendari fleet moved toward Earth in perfect formation, their weapons charged, ready to overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer firepower. "Now," Admiral Wright said calmly. Dr. Peterson activated the satellite network. Beams of energy connected, the satellites forming a glowing web around the Zendari fleet. The aliens finally noticed something was happening, but too late. The energy web tightened, sending precisely calibrated pulses into each ship. On his flagship, Vex watched in horror as systems failed across his fleet. Weapons went offline. Shields collapsed. Some ships lost all power and began drifting. The carefully planned attack dissolved into chaos. "Impossible," Vex whispered as his own vessel shuddered under the attack. "They're just Deathworlders, primitive beings from a harsh world." His second-in-command spoke up. "Sir, we should retreat while we still can. The humans have clearly surpassed our expectations." Vex's pride wouldn't allow surrender. "Launch all fighters. Send all ground troops. We will not be defeated by this lesser species." The remaining functional ships released. Thousands of small fighter craft. Dropships carried soldiers toward Earth's surface. It was a desperate final effort. But Earth was ready. Fighter jets rose to meet the alien craft. Ground forces prepared for the troops. And on Vex's flagship, something unexpected happened. Captain Kelly's team had left more than explosives during their mission. Olivia Garcia had installed a backdoor in the ship's systems. Now a small team of elite hackers, led by Nicole Tanner, used this access to take control of the flagship's internal functions. Doors locked throughout the ship, trapping Zendari soldiers in their barracks. Life support systems adjusted to human preferences, making the air uncomfortable for the aliens. And most importantly, the bridge sealed shut, trapping Grand Admiral Vex and his command staff. On Earth, the final battles began. Zendari forces landed in larger numbers than before, but they landed in disarray without proper coordination. Human forces, now experienced in fighting the aliens, moved confidently to engage them. Major Daniels led a battalion against the largest, Zendari landing near Denver. The aliens fought desperately, but the humans had learned their weaknesses. They used the terrain, the weather, and their superior adaptation to Earth conditions to full advantage. "They never understood what makes us strong," Major Daniels told his troops as they pushed the aliens back. "It's not just our technology. It's surviving on this world that they call a death world." In orbit, Admiral Wright watched as the battle turned decisively in Earth's favor. The Zendari fleet was largely neutralized. Their ground forces were being defeated worldwide, and Grand Admiral Vex was trapped on his own flagship. "Contact the flagship," she ordered. "It's time to end this." Communication link opened to the Zendari bridge. Grand Admiral Vex appeared on screen, his scales pale with rage and fear. "Zendari fleet," Admiral Wright spoke clearly. "Your ships are disabled. Your troops are defeated. Your empire is in rebellion. Surrender now." Vex hissed in fury. "Deathworlders, do not dictate terms to the Zendari Confederation." Admiral Wright remained calm. "Look around you, Admiral Vex. Your perfect record of conquest ends here, on a death world. Because what you never understood is that harsh worlds produce strong people. Earth's gravity, atmosphere, weather, and predators shaped humans into survivors. We adapt, we overcome, and we don't submit to bullies." A message interrupted their conversation. Ships were approaching from outside the solar system, but they weren't Zendari reinforcements. They were representatives from other worlds in the Confederation, worlds that had received the broadcast about Zendari exploitation. "It seems your former subjects want to discuss new arrangements," Admiral Wright told the stunned Vex. "I suggest you listen to them." 2 weeks later, Lisa Summers stood before the newly formed Galactic Council. Representatives from 27 formerly subjugated species sat alongside humans in a small Zendari delegation. Grand Admiral Vex was gone, removed from power by his own people after his failure. "Earth proposes a new alliance," Lisa said to the assembled delegates. "One based on mutual respect and fair exchange, not intimidation and exploitation. We may be newcomers to galactic society, but we bring fresh perspectives and a strength. Born from our challenging world." The council voted unanimously to approve the alliance. The era of Zendari bullying was over. In a shipyard orbiting Earth, Captain Kelly and Dr. Bennett inspected humanity's first true starship. Built with a combination of Earth innovation and adapted alien technology, it would soon carry them on. A diplomatic mission to the stars. "What do you think of the name?" Captain Kelly asked, pointing to the words painted on the hull. Dr. Bennett smiled at the single word written there. "Resilience." "Perfect," she said. "It's what got us through this after all." They looked out at the stars, no longer distant and unreachable. Humanity had faced its first galactic challenge and emerged stronger. The Deathworlders had proven themselves, and the galaxy would never be the same.